In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys my settings and what I believe are the best settings going into 2022. It is currently the week of Christmas, and I just wanted to say Merry Christmas or Happy Christmas, whatever you guys say, wherever you're at. I know a lot of you guys are going to be getting some upgrades to your PC, or maybe a PC for the first time in general this week. So I just wanted to make this video showing you guys my settings going into 2022, along with some general settings you guys can try out to give you guys the best quality game while still keeping the best FPS possible. There's going to be timestamps down in the description below so you guys can go to whatever section of settings you guys want to see. But for now, let's just get right into this from the very beginning. Thank you guys so much for watching. And again, Merry Christmas. Starting in the general settings, the only thing that I really start to change here off the rip is just going to be your enemy highlight color. I've always really used yellow as soon as I figured out it was a thing. It's just like the easiest color for the eye to see. Obviously, if you have a specific form of color blindness, you're going to want to put this to whatever you want or change it up because it might be different colors for you. I do not know how it works. To me, it's yellow, and I just think that's probably the best one out of these choices for you to use to make it easier for you to see enemies. I have found no difference between Protanopia and Deuteranopia. I just use this one. Moving on to my sensitivity, I use 0.313 at 800 DPI. I've found this to be a nice balance between arm aiming and wrist aiming at different ranges, but obviously this is completely subjective setting. You guys can do whatever you want for your mouse sensitivity specifically. Moving on to scope sensitivity multiplier, I like to just keep it at 1 so it's the same as my mouse sends when I'm scoped in. Invert mouse off, and this beta raw input buffer is actually a newer setting, and I've actually tested this out myself. If you go into a game and turn this on and off, it just makes your mouse movements smoother and just more accurate, it seems, if it's on. Play around with it yourself, see what you like better, but from my testing and other people's testing, having it on just makes your mouse movements smoother and more accurate. Moving on to my map settings, rotate is on, keep player centered is off, and the reason for this is just so I can see the entire map, because a lot of things are going on other sides of maps from where I am at, and I want to see how many people are there, what's going on, and who specifically is there. My size is just completely random. I usually keep it around 1, and the zoom, again, is around 1 as well. I have the minimap vision cones because this helps me see what my teammates are looking at, and then I never have the region names on just because it's more distraction on the screen. Starting with the other settings, I actually am rocking first person handedness on the left side. And the reason for this is because I am right eye dominant. If you guys want to figure out what your dominant eye is, make a triangle with your fingers, look at a faraway object in your room, put that object in the center of the triangle, then close one eye and bring the triangle towards your face. If that object stays in the center of the triangle, whichever eye you have open is your dominant eye. So then you will want to put the gun on the opposite side of whatever eye you're dominant on. The theory behind this is that it just eliminates anything in your way of looking at your target. And after testing it for a while, I've actually noticed I have a lot clearer vision of just putting my crosshair in someone's head and looking directly at what I'm aiming at. Show inventory, player loadouts, and the cycle next are all off. Show mature content is on, corpses are off, and blood is on. The reason corpses are off is because it just cleans up the entire map. You don't get confused by dead bodies or anything. And the reason that blood is on is because if you do end up headshotting someone behind a wall or a box, you'll be able to see that blood spray and you'll see and know that you did in fact hit them in the head, so you can tell that to your teammates. Network buffering for me is on minimum. If you have a worse internet connection, I think you're going to put this on moderate or maximum, but obviously it's going to increase your ping. So for now, keep it on minimum unless you really have some constant awful internet issues. Bullet tracers are on for obvious reasons, so I can see where my spray is going. The rest of this is obviously, again, just going to be completely up to you guys, and nothing is really going to change your game about this. But there's a mental note that I like to make about the spectator count. I just like to have it off because sometimes you're in a clutch situation. You look at the top of your screen and you see that 4 people are watching you, and that just might distract you a little bit and make you a little bit more nervous when you're in clutches. So I just like to keep it off. The rest of these are pretty much observer settings, so I'm just going to skip those and go on over to controls. Now, Riot recently just added agent profiles in the settings, but I actually just use the same exact binds for every agent. That's just kind of what I've done since I've played the start of the game. But going on, my default ability binds are going to be X for the first ability, Z for the second, B for the third, and C for my ultimate. Moving on to movement, obviously WASD. Default movement mode should be run, and I don't know why you would not want to be moving at the fastest pace possible at default. Left shift is walk for me. And now jumping I have on mouse wheel down. A lot of you guys may think this is weird, but this actually comes from Counter-Strike and just being able to B-hop everywhere. Once you try it, it might feel weird at first, but then after you get used to it, it's literally the best thing ever. Just not having to spam spacebar all the time. Just being able to flick your mouse wheel to jump is the best feeling ever. But then I also do have it double bound to spacebar for specifically when I'm using jet and I need to glide. Crouching for me is on control. Toggle crouch is obviously off because I don't want to be stuck in a crouch. It's the worst thing possible in this game. Moving on to equipment. Everything is pretty much default from here. Left mouse for fire, right mouse for alternate fire, obviously. ADS is toggle. I like this because it just eliminates a need to hold down the button. Sniper rifle aim is obviously toggle as well. Op zoom cycle to just keep it as much like Counter-Strike and opping as I can. And auto re-enter scope is on for the same reason. Primary 1, secondary 2, melee is going to be 3. Equip spike is B. And then I actually delete these cycle to next weapons because I think it defaults to your mouse wheel and you just never want to have cycling to a weapon on your mouse wheel. It's not reliable because you'll oftentimes scroll over the weapon that you want to switch to. My drop button is going to be G and my equip last used is going to be Q. My inspect is T, use is F, and my use spike is going to be F, as well as double bound to 4. Again, for a specific situation where someone plants under zip lines, if I were to try to defuse a bomb next to a zip line, it would just put me up on the zip line and make a ton of noise and be really annoying. For the specific situation, I just have it bound to 4, so I can just hold 4 to defuse. And not that it really matters, but my spray is M. Because you got to be able to look down at the ground and spray when you kill someone. Moving on to communication, left alt and my thumb mouse button 2 are both of my push to talk buttons. The only ping button I use is going to be Y, and it's the only one I really need to use if I'm trying to explain something to my teammate. I can just ping where someone's at. Other than that, the only ping button / communication button that I use is just going to be the social command radio because it's funny to meme. Onto the interface, the teammate loadouts is also bound to left alt, and this is really useful sometimes if you're looking to see if a stage has a heal still. Menu is escape. Combat report is J. My buy menu is E. It's just a really comfy button for me to hit. I like to keep my open map on hold, so just caps lock. I can quickly hold it, hang somewhere where you want to go, and then just immediately let go to close that. My scoreboards tab, toggle cursor is my right directional key. And then all these observer modes obviously does not matter to me. Moving on to my crosshair, this is actually the one I've been using most frequently. It's iridium firing error is what I call it. It actually allows me to use the firing error on the crosshair settings. And the reason for this, which you may have seen in my stream or sometimes in my videos, even if you're like half a millisecond off of your spray resetting, your bullets are just going to go everywhere the next time you try to burst or spray. So if I can just use the firing error to 100% guarantee when my spray is reset, then I'll take that competitive advantage, even if it's just a minuscule little advantage. Color is going to be cyan. Outlines are off. Override firing error offset with crosshair offset, you're going to want to have on. Going into the inner lines, have those on. It's going to be 1, 3, 2, 2. Movement error off, and then we're going to turn firing error on. And this multiplier, we have it 3, 8, 5, and a few of us in this stream have tested these things out. We found that this is just the most comfy. It's not too crazy when you're firing, and it lets you know when it resets. And it's just a really comfy number where your crosshair doesn't spread out like crazy and distract you when you're spraying. Outer lines are all off, and that really means nothing. Try this out. Let me know in the comments how you like the firing error. If you're not about it, that's cool. I am. I don't have any settings for ADSing. I just keep it the same. For the sniper scope, I just changed the color to pink because I like pink / purple. Moving on to the meat of this video, which a lot of you guys are probably going to be skipping to the section for. So hello. Thank you guys for skipping to this section or just watching it all the way through. I recently just got a 3060 Ti. So I recently just set these all up for the best quality and best FPS. So getting into these. Default display mode, full screen. I'm rocking a 240 Hz monitor, so I'm keeping my res native 240 Hz. Aspect ratio method, I think just depends on what res you're rocking. If you're a different res, try hitting fill. It will probably fill out the picture a little bit more so there's no edges being cut off or anything. Moving on, I have no caps on my FPS currently. For a while, I was trying to cap it at 240, but I just wanted to let this beast run loose, so I have all the caps off, and I've been probably averaging around 300 FPS, I'd say, maybe a little bit more in specific areas, maybe a little bit less. It kind of just depends what you're looking at. Now this reflex low latency, this obviously applies to people with NVIDIA cards, and it only works on a certain amount of cards and up. Basically what I've heard is if you have an RTX card, keep this on only on. And if you have anything other than RTX card, have it on plus boost. I have actually tested this and I've seen that having it just on for me with RTX 3060 Ti, it gives me a little bit extra FPS versus having it with on plus boost. Moving on to the graphics quality, and these I have completely tailored to just having the most FPS with the best looking game. And a lot of you guys might be wondering why I have really bright colors, and I will get to that at the end of the video as well. Multi-threaded rendering is on. All qualities are going to be on low. Vignette off. VSync off. My anti-aliasing is going to be MSAA 2X. If I have it off, it's just a little bit too jagged for me, and FXAA is just a little bit too smooth and a little bit blurry for me. So I found that 2X is the best contrast between not being too blurry or too smooth and not being too jagged. Moving on to anisotropic filtering, I believe this just affects your skins and like how they look. That's what I've noticed, the biggest thing. I have it just maxed out, so your skins are completely crispy and looking nice for you. Doesn't do anything to your FPS that I found. It just makes your skins and a lot of other details a lot crispier. Improved clarity, actually, you're going to want to have this set to off. I have it set to off on a bunch of other accounts that I have. I did not actually change this on my main account, but I recently did some testing with this and looked up some stuff on Reddit about it. This is kind of like the HDR effect on like phone cameras. You really can't tell a difference at all, but it does the similar thing, like making a little bit more contrast in your game. You're going to want to have that off because this actually does hit your FPS. Having it off gives me like another like 20 to 30, I'd say. So turn improved clarity off. It literally does nothing other than hit your FPS. So keep that off. Same with experimental sharpening. It obviously is going to sharpen your game a little bit, but at the cost of 10 FPS or so, you're going to want to have it off. Doesn't really matter. Bloom is a setting that we have on just because of the quality. It really brings your skins to life and brightens a lot of other things. This can actually give you a little advantage on Sova darts as well. It blooms out that light that is emitting from the dart itself and the line, showing you if you're going to get tagged or not. I haven't noticed too much of an FPS fluctuation with having this on or off. Only really benefits how your game looks, and we want it on because it makes it look amazing. Distortion off, cast shadows are off. Casting shadows does not affect your enemies or being able to see shadows around corners or anything. This is just for your first person skins and arms and stuff like that. Moving on to the stats, the only things that I have on text only are going to be FPS, tick rate, latency, and that's it. And then the only ones I like to have on the graph are just going to be my ping, which is network round trip time, average, and then packet loss. So moving into the sounds, the only setting that I really recommend you turn on if you don't have it on already is HRTF. And just reading it straight from the book here, HRTF provides better 3D spatialization of sounds by approximating an average head shape for the listener. And this is going to sound weird to you if you haven't used HRTF before, but believe me, once you get used to it, you'll be able to pinpoint exactly where someone is through a wall, around a corner, if they're in your spawn, how far away they are from you. Try it. It'll sound weird for a little bit, but once you get used to it, you're going to thank me and yourself. Voice chat, obviously nothing of this really matters at all. You guys set this to whatever you guys want. And the voiceover tab, this obviously is completely up to you guys, whatever you want on or off. So now moving on to one of the most common questions I get in my stream and in my videos is how my colors are so bright. And this is all done through the NVIDIA control panel, which you guys can get to by right-clicking on your main home screen and just hitting NVIDIA control panel. If you do not have an NVIDIA card, this is somewhat similar in the way you get to it. I think you just right click on your home screen. There's whatever sort of AMD control panel version of it. And if you can find the saturation setting within that AMD control panel or whatever it is, then that's the same. But this is how you do it with an NVIDIA card. Go to your NVIDIA control panel, go to adjust desktop color settings. And once you get here, select whatever display you're going to be playing Valorant on. Just scroll down to digital vibrance and turn that up to 75%. I believe it's defaulted to 50. The 75% is what I'm rocking. And it's just going to bring your colors in Valorant to life a lot more, make it look more amazing. And obviously this will give you a little bit more of an advantage to seeing someone because those enemy highlight colors will just be popping a lot more if your vibrance is up a little bit. So that's going to do it for my 2022 settings video. I really hope this helps you guys out. If you're getting a new PC parts, or a PC for the first time and just playing Valorant. Just wanted to wish another Merry Christmas to everyone. Happy New Year. If you guys want to get me something for Christmas, please hit that like button, subscribe button, and notification bell. Come through to the streams whenever I stream every day except for Saturdays and Sundays. See you guys in the next video. On that note, ta-ta for now.